What? I guess probably the X flare. The solar flare must have messed up the light. Guys, are you serious? We have breaking news. I want to thank Wages World for breaking this information forward. I just seen it. Wages World, want to thank you for doing a great job over. He has a YouTube channel called Wages World, and he stays on top of especially what goes on with the sun. Let me put a shout out right now, if I could, for www.ketowithpaul.com. That's www.ketowithpaul.com. Seriously, weight management is tough. I mean, I know. You guys know I've battled with it for years, but boy, thank God there is a way to help you. And the keto diet is incredible, but I can't do it. And very few people can. It's difficult. But you can take the ingredients from it. And there's a powder. And it's called, and you go to this website below. It's www.ketowithpaul.com. That's www.ketowithpaul.com. Get this powder. It takes the best ingredients from the keto diet. It will help create what's called ketosis. That will stimulate your metabolism, accelerate it, and if with you working hard towards your diet, it will help take down the weight, and really you'll look great, you'll feel great, you'll be amazing. That's www.ketowithpaul.com. That's www.ketowithpaul.com. All right, we've had an incredible X flare has just hit an X class 1.1. So an X 1.1 class solar flare. First of all, you need to know that the winds that are blowing on the surface of the sun right now is extremely high at 489 kilometers per second. That's high. Second of all, you need to remember Thursday night's broadcast. If you haven't seen it, you must watch it, because I'm going to say this one more time. It was the best broadcast, the best Thursday night broadcast we've ever done in 13 years with Mike from around the world. It is featured on this YouTube channel. It was amazing because of the earthquakes in Turkey and Syria, and with the breaking off of the filament off the sun, off the wars, the rumors of wars, the satellite that was just shot down over Arkansas, over Alaska, and all the things that are going on right now. Mike from around the world reveals some tremendous information for you. He dropped a lot of bombs in this one, and you really need to watch it. On that same broadcast last Thursday night, Mike said these words. We were talking about the next wave of energy that is coming on February 18th, that's going to hit the outer edges of our atmosphere, of our solar system. And I said, Mike, tell us, what will this mean? And he said, well, it's going to be 7 times stronger than the last one. But he said, we don't need to even talk about that yet, because we're still not done with this last one that caused the double mega earthquakes in Turkey and Syria, in which the death toll is now over 24,000, unfortunately, and almost 100,000 injured, and 5.4 million people homeless. It's the 10th worst earthquake in the history of humanity. Mike said on that last Thursday night broadcast that there was going to be 2 major earthquakes, and that's exactly what happened. He said it will happen in 72 hours, and that's exactly what happened. The first one hit at the 72-hour mark, the second one 9 hours later. So I said to him Thursday night, Mike, what about February 18th? He said, don't worry about that. Let's talk about the fact we're not done with this last wave. He said, there's danger for the next 36 hours. There's danger. That was Thursday night. It's been about 44 hours, 45 hours since he said that. And we have a major explosion on the sun, creating an X 1.1 class solar flare. According to reports, it says sunspot AR 3217 has a beta gamma delta magnetic field that harbors energy for a X-class solar flare eruption. Indeed, it just unleashed one. The sunspot is turning toward the Earth. So any flares that would happen this weekend are likely to be geo-effective. Solar flare and radio blackouts. This Earth-orbiting satellites have just detected this X 1.1 class solar flare, extreme powerful, from sunspot AR 3217. According to the report, it caused an extreme, I repeat, extreme UV radiation ionized the top of the Earth's atmosphere, causing a strong shortwave radio blackout over South America. Matter of fact, ham radio operators, aviators, mariners may have already realized the unusual propagation effects at frequencies below 30 megahertz for as much as an hour. The shortwave radio systems in South America and in the waters around South America, they don't work. Imagine all the ships in the sea out there, and there's no ham radios or aviators, mariners, and the frequencies they need. They can't communicate with no one. You got a lot of boats in the water that could collide with one another. They need communication. But this flare, so powerful, has just completely, for over an hour, knocked it out. Now, this was an impulsive flare. Scientists are calling this an impulsive flare, intense and fast. It may not have lasted long enough to completely lift a strong enough CME out of it, but then again it might, and out of the sun's atmosphere. But confirmation awaits. Fresh data will be coming in from SOHO coronagraphs, so we'll be monitoring for that information. So again, Mike said within 36 hours, it looked like it was about 45 hours, that this major event took place on the sun. Now we have to wait and see if the pressure from this enormous solar flare could also cause another major earthquake or massive volcanic eruption or something of that magnitude. Of course, those are the ones we'll be watching for. Meanwhile, Comet ZTF is now approaching an ecliptic and is now near Mars. Remember, it went by Earth a few days ago, back on February 1st. It's now nearing Mars. And that was that big green comet. Quite interesting as they watch that. It's causing Mars to be 100 times brighter than it usually is, as Comet ZTF is nearly invisible, because Mars is at this moment 100 times brighter than it normally is, due to what they call a diatomic carbon that's been released in its atmosphere. And what's causing that? What's causing a diatomic carbon atmosphere release that's made Mars 100 times brighter than it normally is? I'll guarantee you, I'm not an expert in this area, but I'll say this. It's probably from that wave of energy, which, Mike said it's going to affect the sun, it's going to affect the Earth, it's going to affect all the planets. It's going to affect meteorites and comets and asteroids. And the biggest danger is it could knock the orbital path of the planets off their orbits. Could knock them out of the normal orbital path, which affects everything. Tidal waves, everything. So this is huge news. Again, I want to thank Wages World. Check out his YouTube channel, Wages World. He broke this news just about 3 minutes ago, and I saw it. It popped up on my phone, and I said, Heidi, here we go again. I've got to let people know, because Mike from around the world told us to watch for these things. And now my next thing to watch for is, what will this do to the Earth? What will this massive, extreme, ultraviolet rays that comes off the sun at an X 1.1 class solar flare? I mean, you already got filaments breaking up. You already got a plasma vortex that came off a few days ago, just before the earthquake in Turkey and Syria. And I can tell you, here in Jerusalem, people are nervous. Israel is on the same fault line as the Syria-Turkey earthquake. Same fault line. And we heard Rabbi Harry Moskoff, who spoke before our group here on this tour a couple nights ago, say, we're nervous. We're afraid here in Israel for a moment because we're overdue. It's been 96 years since I've just lost my, okay, I'm back. I hope I don't lose my connection here. But we've got coming up February 17th, we're going to have an asteroid that's going to come very close to the Earth. It's going to miss the Earth by 1.4 lunar distance. There's a bunch of asteroids coming, and then there's Mike mentioned it last Thursday night that look, but the big meteor belt, the big meteor storm is coming. There's no denying it. He said soon the fire will begin to burn in different parts of the Earth when these little fireballs start hitting the Earth. And of course, he's already warned us in that last webinar we did. Now, I highly, highly, highly recommend you do two things tonight. If you haven't watched the Patreon I did with Agent X that I did last night, go to my Patreon channel. You'll see it says China weaponized. You need to watch that 25-minute interview with Agent X. He is incredible with the information he shares with us. Also, we posted the Mike from Around the World interview there, also on Patreon. So check that out. If you're not a member of my Patreon channel, get it done. Look, you give what you want. Most people give $5 a month. You can give more than that. You can give less than that. You need to just make sure you get on that. Okay? Don't miss this information. Number two, you need to get the webinar. You need to order the webinar. You can still get the ticket for it, and that's Deep Impact, Planet X, Incoming Asteroids. The name of the webinar was Deep Impact. You can still buy the ticket and watch it tonight, okay? So you need to go to my website at paulbegleyprophecy.com. That's paulbegleyprophecy.com. Good to see you, Ms. ZD. I'm glad you're in there. You need to get it done. So you need to watch. If you didn't watch last Thursday night with Mike Around the World, what are you doing? I mean, you can't let these shows just linger, folks, at your own leisure, because we'll have a show with Mike Around the World, and he'll tell you that within a day and a half something's going to happen, and it happens. And where does he get his info? He's got intel. He's got inside intel that we can't get our hands on. He can, and he shares with us what he can share. He can't share everything, but he loves the Lord. And of course, what I'm doing, my job is just to gather the information from every source I can, and look at the Bible, and then tell you what does the Bible say. The Bible says that there will be signs on the sun. There shall be signs on the sun, the moon, the stars. This is Luke 21:25. For there shall be signs in the sun, the moon, the stars, distress of nations on earth with perplexity. The sea and the waves will be roaring. Men's hearts will fail them for fear, for looking after those things coming upon the earth. For the powers of heaven shall be shaken. Signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars. Might as well throw Mars in there with it. Solar flares, extreme ultraviolet rays, gravitational pulls, volcanoes under the sea erupting, tsunamis, earthquakes, biblical proportion. Jesus said it. For there shall be signs in the sun, the moon, the stars, distress of nations with perplexity or confusion. The sea, the waves are roaring. Men's hearts are failing them for fear. Men's hearts fail them for fear, for things that are coming upon the earth, for the powers of heaven are shaken. Are you serious? Then shall they see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, he said, look up, lift up your head. Your redemption is drawing nigh. Get on the phone and call our office right now at 765-414-2230 and order the Deep Impact webinar if you don't know how to do it online. Or if you haven't watched all the webinars, you can get most. We've got all of them on DVD. Order it on DVD so we can ship it to you. Don't wait. Meanwhile, wars, rumors of wars. We talked about it with Mike. President Biden on his way to Poland very soon. Russia amassing 1,700 tanks, 700 warplanes, 1,800 tanks, 700 warplanes, nearly 500,000 troops. Preparing for some type of onslaught somewhere, launching some type of offensive somewhere. Is it only Ukraine, or are we about ready to see this war in Europe expand into other NATO countries? And what about Iran? What about what's happening right here in Israel? The threats constantly coming from the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and the Iranian regime. What about China floating balloons over top our heads, and why aren't we shooting these things down? Thank God. Last night we shot one down just before it got to the coast of Alaska. We're not going to let this happen again, I hope. That's why you got to watch the Patreon. Go now. You need to know what in the world's going on. There was more than that. There was more balloons than that. There's more technology in that. And Mike not Mike from the world, but Agent X breaks this down for you with some of the best information ever on these floating trial balloons and weaponized and situation. I can't say no more. You have to go there and watch it. I can't even talk about it even here. We're in the last days. We're absolutely in the end of time. I'd like to just play a song even, just to mellow my mind out for a moment. Can I? Oh, no. Hang on, I'll do it right. I like this song in here anyway. It's on my album, Harmonize and Prophesy. If you haven't got it, you need to get it. That's better. Here we go. Just calm down. Just listen to the music and go to Patreon. While you're listening to the music, go ahead and open another tab on your computer and go to Patreon and subscribe to the Patreon channel and just lock it down. Don't just do 1 month at a time, because then the next time I have another big story that hits, you're like, oh, no, my prescription ran out. I only did 1 month. Go there right now and make a commitment for the next year. Get it locked down so you don't have to worry about it. Okay? Because I'm telling you, we're running out of time. We're literally running out of time.
God, I'm so scared for this crooked generation. You even find faith.
He said 36 hours.
When you bring down revelation.
36 hours.
Give us now the sins of our youth, worshiping the idols that knew everything but the truth. Teach us how to uncorrupt our
It's time to get saved.
Show us now while we still have the time. We need you, Yeshua. Holy, holy, hallelujah. We need you, Yeshua.
The cause of the X-Flare.
Holy, holy, hallelujah.
No doubt it's that wave of energy that hit.
We abandon everything to follow you, our King. We throw our gold and silver in the stream.
How much will we see before the fire falls? Lord, could this really be the last altar call. We need your blood over the doorpost of our hearts. Anoint us with your fiery love as the praise and worship starts. Holy, holy, hallelujah. We need you, Yeshua. Holy, holy, hallelujah. We abandoned everything to follow you, our King. We throw our gold and silver in the streets. Oh, we abandoned everything to follow you, our King. We throw our gold and silver in the streets. We abandoned everything to follow you, our King. We throw our gold and silver in the street. We abandoned everything to follow you, our King. We throw our gold and silver in the street. Beautiful song written by Israel Hall, and of course he helps me sing that one, and you hear him on the sax and all the rest of the great band members involved in that. Powerful song. Boy, I tell you, it's time to give your life to Jesus Christ. It's time to get saved. It's time. We're running out of time. Give your life to the Lord. If you haven't got the webinar, if you haven't ordered your DVD on Deep Impact, you should, because we have it in-house. We can ship it right now. Go right now to our website at paulbegleyprophecy.com and order that DVD, the entire webinar. Because Mike, it's amazing because Marshall Masters and Stephen Ben Noon, Gil Brazard, Mike from around the world. I mean, some of this information these guys bring, and here we are, and it's happening. It's happening. It's actually accelerating. And these waves of energy, we've had 3 now out of the 17 events that Mike said is going to happen in 2023. And this third one, you saw what it did. It rocked the sun. It tore the filaments off the sun, plasma vortexes. And the 10th worst earthquake in the history of humanity. A great earthquake, just like Jesus said would happen in Matthew 24. Great earthquakes in diverse places. This earthquake was so bad, almost 25,000 people are dead. Almost 100,000 are wounded or injured. And 5.4 million are homeless, and there's still thousands still buried in the rubble. We don't even know. And now the sun has exploded again, this time with an X 1.1 class solar flare, a massive, with extreme ultraviolet rays eruption, fast and furiously ripping off of the sun, headed toward the earth. So look out. Look out. As Mike from Around the World says, look out. Another major earthquake had happened, or a massive volcanic eruption. And that's not even counting the fact that we're shooting down China drones off the coast of Alaska, and the North Koreans are threatening to shoot missiles at Japan or South Korea. The Iranians are threatening to attack Israel, and the Russians are moving 1,800 tanks, 700 warplanes, 500,000 troops into position for some type of confrontation with somebody. To me, it seems like it's more than Ukraine. I don't know. President Biden getting ready to go to Poland. You know he's talking about the war in Europe. You know he's talking about what's going on. Everybody seems to have a gun at each other's head around the world. China, America, Russia, the Brits, the Germans, the Iranians, the Israelis, the North Korea, South Korea, Japan, and others. We're on the brink of World War III. We're right on the edge of it. Seriously. I mean, is that mine? Seriously? I'm going to let you go, guys. I know there's almost 1,000 people here right now, and I know this is not a scheduled broadcast, just spontaneously. I want to thank Wages World again. Check out his channel, his YouTube channel. He's really good on keeping track of what's going on with these X flares, these solar vortexes, these eruptions off the sun, because whatever happens to the sun is going to affect the earth. But what's affecting the sun? The 5 waves of energy, which is really more than 5 waves. Now we're realizing that 8 years ago when Mike said there's coming 5 waves of energy, he told us that in 2014. I thought he was crazy. What do you mean 5 waves of energy? Well, now it looks like it's 17 events is what it is. Once it got closer, they got a better idea. They could see the waves better, like ripples on the water. You also can see that meteorites, storms are coming. It's going to set off fires across the world. We read this stuff in the Bible, but it just we pay no attention to it. It's in the Bible. All right, that's in the, But when it starts happening on earth right in front of your eyes, people start to wake up. But guess what? Not everybody. There's people still not awake. There's people still think you're crazy. There's still people who are still asleep at the switch. They're awoke. Oh, yeah, they're woke, but they're not awake. Jesus said this is what would happen in the last days, that scoffers would come, mockers. People would come doubters and pouters. And they would come along and they would say, oh, come on, we've heard about this apocalypse thing. In 2012, the Mayan apocalypse, nothing happened. Y2K, nothing happened. They can have an earthquake as big as the one that hit Turkey and Syria. They can have 25,000 people dead, 100,000 injured, hospitals overrun. There's not even enough infrastructure to handle all the misery. This is happening right now as we're talking to each other. This is the 10th worst earthquake in the history of humanity. And do you know most people still don't believe that Jesus is coming back? They think they don't even care. They don't care. It didn't happen on their street. It didn't knock their power out. Their refrigerator, the food's still cold in their fridge. I've been showing you. I put it right here in front of you. I'm begging you to. Some of you are finding this broadcast right now. Maybe for the first time you're thinking, I don't know who this dude is with the sunglasses on in the middle of the night, telling me that Jesus is coming back any day. No, I'm not. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, you ain't got time for it. Friends, you don't have time to die right now. I understand that. You're too busy for that. But when death finds you, so will the judgment. I can't change that. But Begley, I ain't got time to hear about all this stuff. I know, but you won't have time to die, but death will find you anyway. Where will your soul be? Who do you belong to? Who are you following? Who's in control of your life? Who do you surrender your will to? Who's running your life? Is it the Lord Jesus Christ? Or is the devil himself pulling you around? Where will you be if Christ would come? What if the rapture happened in the next 15 minutes? Where would you be? You staying here? Are you left behind? Are you going to heaven? Have you given your life to Jesus? Have you repented of your sins? This is for all of us. I'm asking everybody. Where are we at? Where are you at? Just trying to be honest with you. Look, I'm not trying to jump on your case. This is a wake-up call. If an earthquake that kills 25,000, 30,000 people, whatever it will, please tell me what will. Are you serious? Are you serious?